My special guest right now is the wonderful Misti Mackey. Tell us what your title is here.
I'm the insurance coordinator here at the Center for Autism and Related Disorders.
Okay, and I've asked Misti to come in and talk to us because, when the Supreme Court handed down their decision yesterday, and I came in, and my first stop was down to your office to talk to you and Bryce Myler and go, okay, so what does this mean? And it was interesting because you guys were saying, well, it means that everything stays the same as it did earlier in the day. This is a big non-event.
Right.
And I said, but what does it mean in terms of autism families? And you guys started talking to me about the Affordable Health Care Act and what that meant to autism families. And I thought that I already understood, and you were saying things to me that I did not know.
Right.
And it kind of blew my head because a lot of it affects me personally. And I thought, how can I not know this? This is shameful. I was embarrassed, because I should know. I mean, I'm here, I work here, and I talk about things. There are things that I should know, but I thought if I don't know, it's very likely that a lot of people don't.
Right.
And I thought we should just step back for a second and say, okay, well, if the Supreme Court decision has meant that the status quo, everything is the same, maybe we should talk about what the same means.
Right.
So help me to understand, because I think I only am beginning to understand, how does the Affordable Health Care Act affect families with autism, both now and in the future?
Well, first and foremost, the Affordable Care Act prevents insurers from denying coverage to children under the age of 19 based on a pre-existing condition. And that's huge in the autism community because a lot of parents are being denied insurance.
Absolutely.
And now, as of actually September 2010, they can no longer deny children coverage.
And I got to be honest with you, we were just talking about this before we came back from break, and you were just saying that had taken effect in 2010, and I did not know that until just a couple of minutes ago. I thought that was taking effect in 2014.
Nope.
So at this moment in time, no one can deny our children health coverage on the basis of an autism diagnosis.
Exactly.
But that is only in effect because of this act,
right.
And had it been overturned yesterday, that would have changed.
Yes, it possibly could have.
Okay, so really important because until 2010, I knew people who had been denied health care. I know my husband had, I probably shouldn't say this on the air, but we had both been looking at changing jobs, and we were told not to because we were on his health insurance and that we would have been denied coverage because of my son's diagnosis.
Right.
So we did not change jobs, and it changed the trajectory of what we were going to be doing for the next 4 years.
Right.
And I remember having a little bit of resentment, thinking, okay, this isn't fair.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
Okay, so, but as of this moment in time, for all of you out there, you cannot be denied health coverage because your child has an autism diagnosis.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's one of the things that the Affordable Health Care Act did, but there are some things that are in the pipeline that will come to us in 2014 as well.
Right. The Health Care Act actually puts in these provisions, they call them essential health benefits.
Right.
And behavioral therapy for serious mental illness, which autism is one of, will be covered as an essential health benefit. Now, with these essential health benefits, it does apply to self-funded policies as well as state-funded policies, as self-funded policies, which are, the larger groups who fund their own insurance claims.
Yeah.
They do have to abide by federal law. So it will apply to them as well.
Okay.
So behavioral therapy for the treatment of autism will be covered for everybody.
And on January 1st of 2014.
Yes.
Because what we're seeing for a lot of people out there, if you're in a state where there's been insurance reform and you go, woohoo, this is fabulous, there are still people who are being excluded from that. A large number of people who are being excluded from it because they find that they're not within the guidelines that the state has followed, and one of them being the self-funded insurance plans.
Exactly. The numbers that we've come out with, what it seems to be, for us, the people who've come across our desks, it's about 50%.
Okay.
So that's a large number of children who have been left behind as far as getting this coverage.
And I know some people have even gone so far as to say, well, why did we do this? Why did we get insurance reform? Did this help anybody? And I think we need to say that absolutely.
Definitely.
It's helped a lot of people, but there are still people who've been left out in the cold.
Exactly.
But the Affordable Health Care Act will fix that element of it, and self-funded plans will not be allowed to not include behavioral health. And that means ABA.
Right. The reason that they're allowed to do it now is because self-funded plans are governed by ERISA. It's a federal federal guidelines.
Okay.
They don't have to follow state mandates at all. They just completely skip it. But as far as the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act goes, that's federal, and it supersedes any state guidelines.
Okay. So really incredible if a family is sitting there right now, and one of the things that we've been saying to people on the show for weeks is, what's your biggest stumbling block to doing the right amount of ABA? And a lot of people wrote in the other day and said funding, 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 funding.
Exactly.
So that in 2014 that number would change amazingly.
Amazingly.
Okay. Do we know yet what the caps would be? Is it going to be by state, or is is there anything in it that will say dollar amount?
The way it's written now, there won't be any dollar amount maximum. There won't be any age caps, because on essential health benefits, they're saying that you can't put a maximum on an essential health benefit.
Okay, that is huge, and I did not know that until this moment.
Right.
So all these state caps that are there right now, even the mental health parity that helps so many people,
right,
but that still has a cap on it. There will be no caps, no age limit. So if you have a 21-year-old and you have a doctor who says this 21-year-old needs ABA, then your insurance is going to fund it, and you're not going to get to $100,000 and they'll be able to say, no, you can't have it.
Exactly. The only way that they'll be able to deny it is based on medical necessity. So if the insurance company can show that it's not medically necessary, or a doctor doesn't agree that it's medically necessary, that's the only way that they can deny it.
Okay, this is huge.
It is.
And I did not know this. And I'm just wondering how many of you out there did not know this as well. What else, is there anything else that we need to know about that affects autism in this act?
You know, those are the two most important things. I mean, there are a lot of good things that are going on, especially with regard to that. I can say in California, and I'm not sure about the other states, though I do think it might be in many states, there are these child-only health plans, and the way they rewrote the insurance code here in California is that if you enroll in this plan during a child's birth month, the most that they can raise your premiums because of a pre-existing condition is 2 times.
Okay.
Now, any other time of year when you enroll, they can charge you, 400 to 600 times the amount that they would charge a child without a pre-existing condition.
Okay.
But if you enroll during the child's birth month, the most they can do is 2 times the amount, and that is really important to know.
Okay. So I need to back up a little bit because I don't understand everything that you just said.
Sure. Sorry.
No, it's okay, because that's why you're here, so that you can explain that to us. I saw a mom yesterday who had written in a group that I'm in, and she said, I'm living in fear because my husband just lost his job. And that's who we had our insurance through. I have no idea which state they're in, so we're not going to be able to say specifically, but just as a for instance, she's in this boat where her husband has just applied for a job that it looks like he's going to get it. It's going to take 90 days for his health insurance to kick in, and she's terrified.
Right.
She looked into, in her work, the insurance plan, but she would have to cover herself and her child,
right,
and because there's pre-existing condition, the quote that she got back was that it was going to be more than $1,000 a
right,
month. That it was just like too much for her to do. That since they've got to get through a little bit of a hitch where she's going to be the major breadwinner for at least a little while, and she said, I gotta let go.
Right.
But what's going to happen to me? So if under this circumstance, she could go and get a child-only plan that she pays out of pocket in the state of California. We don't know for others. In California. She could go and get a child-only plan, and if she happened to do it in the month of her child's birth, there's the possibility that the insurance company could charge her twice what they could charge somebody else, but they couldn't charge 6 times as much.
Exactly.
Any other month, they could charge 4 to 6 times as much.
Yeah, I mean, even higher. There's not really any limit to what they can charge. They just pick a number out of their hat is what it seems like to me. I mean, these numbers are just astronomical.
And it hurts my feelings that they can still charge double. That still feels huge to me.
It does.
But when you compare it to 6 times as much, and it's an ongoing bill, that's a huge savings.
Right. And especially considering now they can't deny you at all, which is what they were doing. So I mean, at least it's a little bit of something there.
Right.
And they can't cancel your insurance because you use it.
And and it's progress. That's absolute huge progress, because I know people who have had their insurance canceled because of these kinds of things. So huge progress. It still isn't amazing.
Right.
I'm sure it's still expensive, but you know, when you look at what the cost of having ABA is for a year or paying that double premium for a year, it's a huge, huge savings, and your child's going to make progress.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, if you compare the cost of the insurance at, 2 times compared to a 40-hour-a-week ABA program trying to pay that privately out of your own pocket, it is a considerable savings.
Yeah. Is there anything, do we know that or is it going to be by insurance plan what the deductible is?
That is based on plan.
Okay.
There are different levels of plans that you can purchase. It'll be the same with the exchanges. That's what they're calling it with the PPACA, the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act.
Oh, you just said a whole bunch of things I didn't understand. But so because they have to give you an option.
They do.
That's the plan you're talking about, the exchange.
Right.
So you have to have an option that fits.
It'll probably be something, low, middle, high, that type of thing.
But in all of those low, middle, and high, it will have to include behavioral.
Yes.
There's no way, even the low one, it's got to be there.
They can't get out of it. They're considering that an essential health benefit, so that's bottom line. It has to be in there.
Okay.
There are certain things that have to go in, preventative care and, just your general essential benefits, vaccinations, behavioral therapies.
Right.
Things like that.
Okay. And it has to be affordable.
It does. That's what they're saying.
Right. So is it going to be based on income? Do we know yet?
I'm not sure of that yet.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a lot of things to know, but at this moment in time, if nothing changes, 2014, all of our kids are supposed to have the ability to have that.
Yes.
And if you can't afford it, that there will be ways to figure that out.
Yes. It is supposed to be an essential benefit. Yeah, we don't know exactly what they're going to put into place, but that's the basic idea behind the act.
Right. Okay. That's really amazing and good to know. And honestly, the fact that right now you cannot be denied coverage because of a pre-existing condition of autism, I did not know that. I really thought that was coming in.
It's absolutely wonderful news.
And that just makes me that much happier that we have the status quo as of yesterday.